Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of your state chapter, Virginia NORML. It's Friday, July 22nd, 2022, and that means it's time for us to talk all things cannabis in the Commonwealth and answer your burning questions live. Hope you all had a great week. Excited to be back here. Hello, Wade. Wade, right off the bat, wanting to talk about CAO Act. We don't have a good way to say this, so we keep calling it COW because that's funny. We're going to talk about COW in a minute, Wade. Thanks for bringing that up. Hey, Dennis. Plenty of things are new. Hello, Sherry. Good to see you, friend. All right, so as Wade alluded to, finally this week, Senate leadership introduced legislation to end federal marijuana prohibition. This legislation from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, along with Senator Cory Booker and Senator Ron Wyden, has been long awaited. And finally, the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act has been introduced. It would repeal the federal criminal prohibition of cannabis and provide deference to states' cannabis policies. It would also establish mechanisms to help repair the harms associated with the racially and economically disparate enforcement of marijuana prohibition. It accomplishes these things by removing marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act entirely and ending the threat of federal prosecution for possession and licensed commercial activity, and allow states to implement their own cannabis policies free from federal interference. It also eliminates many problems facing regulated state cannabis markets, including lack of access to financial services, the inability to deduct standard business expenses when filing federal taxes for cannabis businesses, and the lack of uniform national regulatory standards and guidelines for cannabis. It also directs funding to reinvest in communities that have been disproportionately impacted by prohibition and helps improve diversity and inclusion in regulated cannabis markets. You can read all about this on the NORML blog. I can see Cassidy and/or Ben has already dropped that in the chat for you all. We are at NORML taking a deep dive into the legislation, and we will publish more about what is in it once we've done that. So make sure you're subscribed to NORML News. Head over to norml.org/subscribe. Hey, you can even subscribe to NORML's Weekend Weed Read. Go ahead and do that now. Check that box when you go to norml.org/subscribe so you don't miss one single issue of the latest in cannabis law reform, coming to you straight from NORML every single week. Wherever you're watching, please go ahead and take a minute, hit that like, follow, and subscribe button, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Make sure you don't miss an episode of Live with NORML whenever we go live. Hey, Ronson, what are you doing in the Smokies today? I assume you mean the Smoky Mountains. Hey, I'm back. You know, sometimes that happens. Hope you didn't hear me swearing about it. So, the big news for the week is, of course, the Schumer bill finally being introduced. Hey, Rick, I'm back. Ronson, glad to see that you're having some good time with family out there. But listen, we're hitting the road here in Virginia. Hopefully, we're coming to an area near you. First on the stop of the Know Your Rights tour is Herndon. We're coming to Herndon. We will be at Sully's Poorhouse, Pour. I feel like I have to spell that every time I say it. Thanks to Sully's Poorhouse for hosting us. We'll be there on Saturday, July 30th at 3 p.m. This event is free and open to the public. We have a registration link for you in the event, so make sure you get your free ticket so we know that you're coming. I will be joined by Fairfax Commonwealth's attorney, Steve Toscano. We'll be talking about the changes to cannabis laws in Virginia that took effect this year and what that means for consumers. So bring your questions and come see us. We'll have cool NORML merch there as well too, and we'll have a happy hour immediately following the Know Your Rights Cannabis in the Commonwealth conversation with myself and Commonwealth's attorney Steve Toscano from Fairfax. Hey Evan, happy Friday to you as well. Hey everyone, let's give a rousing happy birthday. Drop those cake emojis, balloons, party hats, whatever you want. Drop those in the chat right now and wish our friends at Culture a happy 23rd birthday today. Culture has been a long-time supporter of NORML, and we're grateful for all of their support. Hey, Andy, I can see you're here, but I don't see a comment for you. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop that in again. Coley with the flowers. Thank you, friend. What else is going on? Oh, I should have prepared for this better, but you know what? I learned tomorrow, July 23rd, is National Sprinkles Day and National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. So real quick, we're going to throw a quick giveaway up on the NORML Instagram. And I know you all are going to want to get that. So excuse me while I slide over here real quick and grab what we're going to give away. Now, we can't post these. Yeah, that wasn't very slick. We can't post these in our Facebook shop because it's prohibited. So you'll just have to use your imagination while I hold this up and talk vaguely about what it is so as not to violate the terms of use of any of the platforms on which we're streaming. But you can look tomorrow, unless I happen to get it posted this evening, you can look for this giveaway that will be on NORML's socials for National Vanilla Ice Cream Day and National Sprinkles Day, because weirdly, they both fall on the same day. So this will be available. Maybe I just hold it up like this way. Yeah, this ice cream cone will be available for you to enter to win. I got jokes, don't I? Hey, Rick. Rick wants to know if we ever do educational events at music festivals. And yes, Rick, that's always a good time. Have a music festival that you want us to come to? Just shoot us an email. What's my opinion on all what, Dennis? I can only see part of your question. Evan. Oh, Dennis. Dennis wants to know what my opinion is on all these pop-up events that are going on. What sort of opinion are you asking about? Are they legal? That's not really my opinion. That's just what the law says. No, they're not. Ronson's going to answer it for me. Look, unregulated products are unregulated products. And so it's very much a buyer beware marketplace, whether that's at the gas station or at some pop-up event, right? And not only is there a risk to the consumer with whatever those unregulated products are, but you're also putting yourself in potential legal jeopardy, depending on who you are, what color you are, how old you are, where you are, what gender you are, a majillion reasons why, because marijuana laws are enforced disparately, not only in Virginia, but around the world, based on those factors. And so, like Ronson said, super sketch, you don't know what you're getting, and you don't know who might be getting you. So buyer beware. Hey, Rick, we've actually been to Floyd Fest before. I'm not down for camping right now, but yeah, maybe you work on that, Floyd. Work on getting us on the main stage. I mean, Rick, you work on getting us on the main stage. That'd be great. You all hilarious. All right. You're welcome, Dennis. Trying, it's not easy being a buzzkill. Right, Evan? It's too hot, man. I can't. Could be, Ronson. Could be. Could be the other side trying to make some cases there. LOL, for sure. Yeah, I feel like, yeah. Anyhow, let's move on, shall we? Hey, speaking of unregulated products, there are several stories. It's pretty much the same story, just prepackaged with a different news outlet's headline. But there were, so Blue Ridge Poison Control Center, that's who does the most reporting on poison control related issues. So this is the Blue Ridge Poison Center at UVA Health. They just put out some information that said they saw a 5-fold increase over the past year in calls for adverse reactions related to Delta 8. Now, here's the thing. Maybe they were Delta 8 products, but Blue Ridge Poison isn't paying to send these products to a lab to have them tested, as far as we know. So there's, again, really no way to know, other than what the consumer reports, what's actually in these unregulated products. And that's where largely the risk lies to the consumer, is that they're unregulated, not the specific cannabinoid itself, unless we're talking about THCO or THCP and those, and HHC pose risks on their own. But these, analogs of THC, these Delta 8, Delta 10, it's not necessarily the molecule itself, it's how it's produced, and that it's not clean, and that whatever else is in the product as well. So. Right, Evan? I mean, Evan makes a good point that, like, you don't really know what these people had. They said they had a Delta 8 product, and maybe they did. Maybe that's what was labeled, but you don't really know what was in it. And to that point, and to Evan's point as well, if you don't know what you're eating, and you're eating 20 mgs of some THC, like, that's a lot for most people. And so you could be having an adverse reaction for a number of reasons to whatever's in these unregulated products. It goes on to say that they this poison control received 20 calls related to Delta 8 between July 2020 and June 2021, and then they received 112 calls between July 2021 and June 2022. So that's what contributed to the overall 30% increase in these calls. A total of 256 over the past 12 months, they've reported. So, yeah, that's what I know. They go on to say that nearly all the calls related to Delta 8 are for edibles. what I do appreciate in this article is that at the end of the day, at the end of the article, the guy from Poison Control says these are chemicals that can cause harm and are unregulated. There's no guarantee of what you are getting in these packages, and that's the most important takeaway. Not that people call poison control for something they consumed, but that you don't know what you're buying, and that's what's unfortunate is that companies will continue to take advantage of consumers like that. So, oh, Rick. All right. I'll just put your question up here. Rick says there appears to be a successful private club in Roanoke, and they have a relationship with law enforcement to make sure they stay legal. They don't, because it's not legal. Let's just start there. What they have is a successful relationship with law enforcement to make sure that no one gets arrested there. That doesn't make it legal. They've had several successful events. Events of what? What kind of events do they have that are considered successful? Look, people come here to ask us what the law says, and sales of cannabis are illegal in Virginia outside of the medical program. Sharing is permitted, but that sharing has to happen in private. And calling an event private doesn't make it private, right? I mean, yes, that's what it says in code. It's really specific to public place. There's nothing codified about private. It's that you aren't allowed to do these things in public. There's a prohibition on sharing in public. There's a prohibition on selling entirely, and there's a prohibition on consuming in public, and there's a prohibition on possessing over 1 ounce in public. Over 1 ounce and up to 4 is a $25 civil penalty, and over 4 ounces is where the misdemeanor starts. So yeah, Evan, this goes for the other ones that you're talking about that I'm not going to say out loud because being assaulted is super fun. Yeah, so look, if you pay money to go somewhere and then you get cannabis when you're there, that's a reciprocal transaction. So not only is consuming in public, in some instances possessing in public, sharing in public, and sales of any kind, not only are all of those things prohibited, but additionally reciprocal transactions are prohibited. So if you are paying money to enter a space, to belong to a club, to do a thing, to buy a t-shirt, whatever it is, and then there's an exchange of cannabis, then that can very easily be interpreted as a reciprocal transaction, and someone could run afoul of the law. Now, is it legal and is it enforced? Of course, that's the $1 million question. And again, it depends on who you are and where you are. So, and to that point, if you'd like to have a gander at some of the more egregious jurisdictions when it comes to enforcing cannabis laws, despite having changed them, take a look at the Crime in Virginia report from 2021. Cassidy Ben, if you want to drop a link into that, it's vanormal.org/polls. And you can find the Crime in Virginia report right there. I asked one of my journalist colleagues to help me take a deep dive into this because I was pretty concerned when I saw that in 2021, there were 21 arrests, 21 arrests made in different jurisdictions for possession of hashish. Well, that was removed from code in 2020. There is no hashish possession. It was previously a felony. Possession of any amount of hashish was previously a felony until July 1, 2020. So then we're concerned when we see in 2021 that there were 21 arrests made for hashish possession. I've forwarded this information to a few prosecutors, and I'm waiting for an answer back as to how exactly this is happening. Albemarle County, I'm looking at you. Hanover, you got one. Chesapeake, you have one. Yeah, Bristol was on there. So it was really weird to see this. And so I tell you this just to say, hey, listen, marijuana laws are enforced disparately throughout the Commonwealth. And, people are going to get away with stuff in some places and they aren't in others. Yeah, Evan, if the public knows about it, if the public has access to it, it's generally a public event. If you can buy your way into it, then you're stepping into the reciprocal transaction um, territory. So, hey, Eddie, I did talk about uh, the CAO Act, the Cannabis Administration Opportunity Act. I did talk about that at the top of the show. It was introduced, and there's a whole blog on it that Cassidy dropped in the chat just a little bit above you. Yeah, Rick, I know what you're talking about events and classes and all of these things. Um, if you want to share cannabis or consume cannabis with other adults 21 or older, you can do that not in public and not in a way that has any sort of reciprocal transaction. That means goods or services, money cannot change hands. Um, so, yeah, so can you do it? Is it legal? Or two different questions. It just, depends on who you are and where you're gonna do it. Hey, Lynn from Minnesota. Good to see you. Good to see you. Our neighbors to the north, the District of Columbia, their mayor signed legislation prohibiting most employers from discriminating against cannabis consumers. This is a little more broad than what we have here in Virginia, which is employment protection for medical cannabis patients. However, prior to this law taking effect, it has to undergo a congressional review. This is the case with all legislation passed by the DC City Council. So here's what happens next. If Congress takes no action during the review period, which is typically 30 to 60 days, then the measure takes effect. If Congress chooses to oppose the law, that action must also then be approved by the president. So, yeah, it prohibits employers with certain exceptions from refusing to hire, terminating from employment, suspending, failing to promote, demoting, or penalizing an individual due to their use of cannabis, their status as a medical cannabis program patient, or having the presence of cannabinoid metabolites in their bodily fluids. In an employer required or requested drug test without additional factors indicating impairment. So again, it's very similar to what we have in Virginia, except in Virginia, it's only for registered medical. It's for medical. I don't know why I said registered. It's only for medical cannabis patients. So you don't have to be registered to be a patient anymore, but you do have to have the written certification. And that law has always been specific to the written certification itself. We're just flying through the show today. And now I'm afraid of the mouse, this mouse, that's going to swipe me out of the room again. I should get a show-specific mouse that is old school and has buttons that I have to click. So I can't leave the studio again. All right, friends. Hey, where should we go next on our Know Your Rights Cannabis in the Commonwealth tour? I think our next event is probably going to be here in Richmond sometime in August. So stay tuned for that. But if you would like us to come out to your neck of the woods, hey, hit us up. We're always looking for a venue that would like to host an event that's open to the public and sponsors that would like to support that event, especially when we have to travel. We're looking at you, Southwest. All right, friends. We have tons of new items in the Virginia NORML Facebook shop. I think you should go take a look at that now. Well, no, not right now, but like when we're done. Pop into there and see super fun things like this jar pin. We have tons of earrings. Well, okay, tons. We have 3 different types of earrings in there right now, but more are coming. This has been so popular. This is our High Life Motel vintage style keychain. Perfect for those friends that are coming to visit you in the first state in the South. It's legalized adult use. We have stash bags to help you stay safe, keep your products out of the hands of people who shouldn't be touching them, and to make it a little safer if you have to drive with cannabis products as well. So take a look at that, because I would love to send you something. I would love to send you some of these pins. We have books, we've got shirts, and all sorts of exciting new things. Can't wait for you to see them. Hey, Michael. Michael says, since the new certification has patient number, is there really a reason to register or renew with the Board of Pharmacy? Well, maybe. If you want that card, you can. So what we did, Michael, was ask Board of Pharmacy to add a line on the patient certification form that allows the registered practitioner to enter an identification number for the patient. This is going to be the number that's on your Virginia driver's license or on your Virginia issued state ID. And the reason we asked for this is because the regulator for medical cannabis in DC requires a patient ID number. Their system that they use there is called Metric, and Metric requires in DC that a patient ID number be entered into the system. And so what DC had been using is the patient ID number that's on your medical cannabis card from the state of Virginia. Now that we don't require patients to register and that the certificate is sufficient, we are hopeful that by having this number on the certificate, that will be enough for ABRA's regs for Metric. So we'll see. Delegate Adams reached out to ABRA to let them know that this is the process that we had adopted here in Virginia. We're waiting to hear back to see if that's sufficient. Also, hey, if anyone wants to go to DC and test it out, let us know. Oh, hey, Charlie. Good to see you. They love the room 420 tags in Texas. Hello, Michelle. Good to see you, friend. Hey, Lynn in Minnesota. I hope you're connected with Minnesota NORML already. If not, we can help you out. Just shoot us an email at chapters@norml.org. All right, friends, this has been delightful as ever. I am going to get to work now. I'm putting this nice little ice cream cone in the giveaway form for you. It'll be on the NORML Instagram. We'll post it everywhere else so you can find it as well. Everyone, have a great weekend. And listen, if you're watching later and you have questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments. We'll circle back and answer them as best we can. Otherwise, you can send us an email at info@virginianorml.org. Hey, if you want to start a NORML chapter wherever you are, we'd love to help you do that. Go ahead and reach out to me and Cassidy at chapters@norml.org. Before you leave, though, make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe button wherever you are. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. And hey, after you check out NORML's weekend weed read tomorrow, make sure you pop over to the join page. Make sure you are a member of NORML. Head to norml.org/join. Get your 2022 membership card. If you're in Virginia, make sure you get your Virginia NORML membership card at vanorml.org/join. And wherever you are, hey, I hope NORML is able to help you change cannabis policy for the better. Let's do this again next week, friends. Everyone have a great weekend. Bye-bye.